Hey everyone, welcome to Sip Fearlessly. I love the intro. Like, I'm always excited. It takes a lot to do what we do. So, to be able to sit here and actually execute this is very exciting.
Right.
So, shout out to us
Yes.
for the rebrand, okay? New show, new name, same dope energy, okay? That's the vibes we're bringing for 2024. We definitely wanted to take out the time to rebrand and also, put emphasis on our sisterhood,
Yes.
Sisters in Power. That's what SIP stands for. And, we just wanted to highlight, my sister and I's relationship, and how we just met a couple years ago.
Right.
And, we're getting to know each other and we're embarking on this journey together. So we just wanted to put emphasis on that, so that, people can relate to us and, our story can empower you, can encourage you, can motivate you, all that good stuff. Because we do sit here and we have these authentic conversations with a lot of our dope guests.
Right.
Just like we're sitting with Mr. Joe Zayas, all right? And, we're going to dive into everything that he got going on. But we definitely, wanted to kind of bring that structure and bring the focus back to, just, sitting down, sipping on something, having authentic conversations, having great energy, bring it back to like, what we like to do, which is like sip on something and have a conversation.
And chit chat, right? Exactly.
Right? And I feel like that's the best way for humans to engage, people to engage. Like, I'm all about communication. So yeah, so here we are.
Right. Hello.
Hello.
So shout out to, if you guys don't know, but you should know, I'm your girl Sue Fearless.
And I'm Gigi.
And we got Joe Zayas in the building.
Yes.
Hey, how are you
What's
guys?
up,
Thank you for having me
Joe?
here.
Talk to us. How's everything going? How you feeling?
Everything's going well. I'm feeling well.
Yes.
A
New
year.
views, a million views.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, a million views on the
Yes.
last project. So new year, new projects.
Yes.
I love it. So let's dive deep and talk about your humble beginnings and where you come from, what you do, what got you into the film industry.
So originally I'm from Trinidad, and my parents came to America like in the early 70s. So I came like early 70s. I got into film because I've always been artistic. So I've always been playing around with art and everything else, and reading comic books and watching television and then saying, well, I want to do that. So I saw a movie, Star Wars. It was 1977. I was a kid, real small. And I was like, wow, that was so fantastic. When I watched the storytelling, everything about it, and I'm like, I want to do that one day. I didn't know how I was going to do it because at the time, the technology wasn't really available for people to do. So I would like burn out my father's and my mother's camera. They had the Polaroids, you take pictures, and I would take my action figures and set them up and take still photographs and make my own little movies, and they would be mad because, it cost a lot. Polaroid pictures back then, it wasn't easy.
That's dope. But I love when people talk about what they were passionate about and interested in when they were young.
Right.
Because I think about myself too, and then now that I'm in my, young older years. And I think about the things that I was interested in the past, like Gia and I got to share a lot of cool moments during New York Fashion Week. And I remember telling her some things like, oh my God, when I was little, I used to sketch and I used to listen to music and write lyrics to it. And, I love when we can at some point go back and dig into, those things that we used to like and we used to be passionate about when we were younger. Right. Yeah, I love that. So I love that you shared that because that's really dope.
Yeah, but it was different for me. I'm the last of 11,
okay.
Right? So growing up in Bedford-Stuyvesant, Brooklyn, and playing with action figures and loving the arts wasn't something you did in the 70s, right? So it was kind of like you had to live a dual life. You had to kind of like 1 minute you got to be with the guys outside, but then the other minute you're going in and you're reading comic books. And if my brother caught me reading comic books, he would be upset with me because what are you reading comic books for? So you got, at that time being a nerd wasn't cool.
Right.
You know what I mean? You couldn't be, and we didn't know we were nerds. We was just nerds.
Right.
Doing cool stuff, trying to be cool people, which gets you in a lot of trouble because you're hiding who you really are. Right. So even though it was like a gift and a curse, now in hindsight, you can look back at it and say, wow, that was great. But living it was kind of like trying to dance that thin line and be on this side and then be on that side and constantly questioning yourself. Is anything wrong with me because I'm not doing what everybody else wants me to do, and I want to do what I want to do, and what I want to do doesn't seem cool to them, right?
That's so difficult because I feel like we had another guest that kind of talked about something similar where he had to, and I actually know somebody else too that shared that story with me where he would wear a certain outfit when he was around like his friends in the neighborhood, but when he would come out of school and he had like his uniform on, he would walk the other way.
Oh,
Run to the train and stuff like that. And that just makes me think about like, we were talking about trauma earlier and stuff like that. Like that makes me think about how much trauma y'all males carry with y'all.
Right.
Because of your neighborhood, because of your, upbringing and the mentality that, we used to have back in the days and stuff like that. That's so crazy. But I'm glad that you stuck to, what you was passionate about.
Right.
No,
And, that you
I didn't
made
stick
nerd
to it.
looking cool.
You didn't stick
I
to it.
didn't stick to it.
Telling us, let's go. You want to hear this?
I'm lucky, and I applaud my junior high school guidance counselor for noticing that I was artistically gifted and forcing me to go to an art school because I wanted to go to a school for law, which was Tilden, which was one of the worst schools in the neighborhood. But my brother went there. So again, following my brother's footsteps, I want to be that guy. And I would hide for years. People didn't even know that I could draw or paint or do anything creative because I was trying to be that other guy.
Right.
And she saw it and she said, she made a deal with me. And she said, if you take the test for art and design, then I'll let you take the test for John Jay or Tilden. So I said, okay, that's an easy test. So I took the test for art and design, and she never got back to me. And I was like, well, what happened? And she said, well, you already passed, so what do you need to take the other test for? And when I went to art and design, reluctantly, I saw that there was a bunch of people in the school who was just like me. You know what I mean? These were kids who looked like me. They came from my neighborhood, but they were also artistically gifted, and they were struggling with the same things I was struggling with. And I found my tribe, and we all just
That's
found
beautiful.
ourselves. So it wasn't like it wasn't me sticking to it. I was blessed enough to have people in my life who saw something in me and pushed me in that direction, literally pushed me in that direction.
I love
those
that
are
you shared
angels.
that. Yeah, look at that because, we have a lot of conversations about, and it's not to veer off topic or anything, it kind of just all relates, but we have a lot of conversations about education, our education system and stuff like that. So, being that you said that, I want to encourage, us who are in the education field to pinpoint on those talents that we see that our kids have when we're in school with them and encourage them and motivate them and provide resources on where they can continue to, pour into those talents that they have. So I'm glad that was done for you. Absolutely.
And it was, so the significance of that is you're talking about 1983, 1982, where these schools didn't really exist. You had maybe one or two specialized schools for creative people. You had LaGuardia, you had art and design, maybe you had one or two more. So being pushed my whole thing was I was just going to go to Boys and Girls High, hang out with the same cats in my neighborhood, and just be whatever, and just be one of those guys. And it was what saved my life was the fact that I did go away to go to school, right? So even though we can identify it, are the resources available to put the kids into? Thank goodness Art and Design was a public school that had a great curriculum, but now we don't really have that available for kids to say, okay, we're going to put you over here, and it has a great curriculum, and it's free. Everything costs now.
Right. Absolutely. So fast forward a little bit on your journey. So did you continue to stay on the track of creative arts, or did you have like a change in your path? Like tell us a little bit about fast forward.
I fought creativity like fighting Thanos. I was like, I'm not going to be a creative at all. I graduated from art and design, went to college, and I was like, nah, I don't want to do this anymore. I could have went to any art school I wanted to. I said, nope, I want to go to a regular school.
Oh, you got discouraged.
Well, again, I'm in school, but I still got to go home. And I spend my summers at home in Bedstuy. So I'm still around the guys. I'm still there. And it's still not cool to be an artist, and they're still making fun of me because I'm an artist.
Right.
So I don't want that in my life anymore. So I went to school for art, and then halfway through the semester, I said, I'm going to go for marketing. And I started doing marketing. And again, for years, nobody knew I was an artist until I was about maybe 24, and I started my own magazine. And even in starting the magazine, they just thought I was a journalist. They just thought I was a writer. They didn't know that I could do other things. And so it took about another 4 or 5 years before I got back into the arts, where I started, and it started through me writing again.
Right.
I'd gotten sick because of working on the magazine. If you ever did that, I know what you guys go through. It's extremely stressful.
Right.
Yeah.
So I had gotten really sick, and I was hospitalized for a while. And in the hospital is when I got back into the arts, because I needed to do something during my recovery. And I started painting again. I started doing my art. So I didn't really get back into the arts until I was about maybe 35. From high school to about 35. So maybe about 15 years. Yeah.
And in the meantime, you said you did marketing?
I did marketing, yes.
You did marketing, okay. So did you work in like corporate settings?
No,
Or was it still like...
I was a rebel. I started my own magazine.
You see, you was always different. You was always unique. Your purpose was always there.
Yeah, but I fought it. I kept fighting against it.
Oh.
You know what I mean? So,
So when you finally got back to it, you started your own magazine. What was the first major project that you worked on in the creative arts, aside from starting a magazine and things like that?
I wrote my first book, which is To Live and Die in Bedstuy.
Okay.
I wrote a book. The movie was first a book. I wrote that, and then I wrote another book of short stories. And someone told me, said, that book reads like a movie. You should do movies. And I was like, well, I always wanted to do movies. The technology was available at that point, so I did my first movie, which was Honor Among Thieves. I wrote and shot that movie. Had no idea what I was doing. You know, even I learned stuff in school. When you're there and I'm writing, I shot it with a camcorder. I was shooting with whatever I could get my hands on.
Yeah.
And I learned to edit. My nephew taught me how to edit on Premiere Pro. He had a computer, and I just futzed around, and I made a movie.
That's fire.
Wow,
Like,
right.
Shout out to all the Black filmmakers also. Shout out to y'all, for real.
Right.
Okay. So that's dope. So let's talk a little bit about your current film. You have 1 million views on it, like I mentioned. So congratulations on that.
Thank you.
That's pretty freaking dope. You said it started from a book.
Right.
So let's talk a little bit about that and the representation for Brooklyn and stuff like that.
Well, what do you want to know about it?
Well, I want to know what was the inspiration behind the film, To Live or Die in Bedstuy.
A lot of my stuff is it really comes, as my friend would say, it's me. All the characters are me at one point or another.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like the father is partly me being a dad, and the son is me as well being a son, taking advice from my father and everybody else. You know, the guy who's in the street who's conflicted on what should I do. That's also me. I'm conflicted. What am I doing? You know, all the characters are just me. Right. So the inspiration and most of the stuff that I write, it's just me and the different people that sound crazy, but lives in my head.
No, that's awesome, right? Like,
Okay.
that's great. You have a vision and you put it out. Not a lot of people do that, and then you use yourself to tell the story. That's even more awesome.
Well, most artists create from a place that they know. They create from within themselves. And, that's, so when you see it out there, that's why it's so sensitive about it. You know, when you're an artist, you're so sensitive about your work because even to, everybody's listening or everybody looking, they say, oh, you just created a project. It's like, no, I'm giving you a part of myself.
Yeah.
Right.
So if you reject my project or if you talk badly about my project, you're internalizing that as you're talking badly about my experience.
Right.
You're talking badly about me. You know what I mean? So,
which that's tough. That's tough because everything we put out there to the audience, it's up for scrutinization. It's up for judgment and all of that. So it takes a lot to be able to put a lot of yourself out there in what you do.
Right. The thing I've learned is to separate technique from story. Right. So the technique of how I told the story is what you might be criticizing, what most people criticize. People don't normally criticize the story. Right. So in criticize, say, oh, you watch a movie, so it was a bad movie. It was a bad way of telling the story of the movie, not the movie itself.
Right.
You know what I mean? So once I realized that they're not attacking me personally for my story, but they may be criticizing the way I told the story, then it was a lot easier for me to just put the stories out and not have so many angst.
Right. Absolutely. So I want to ask a question. How important is it to you to keep Black and brown faces on camera as a filmmaker?
I think it's extremely important for me to keep black and brown faces on camera because I'm black. I can only talk from my perspective, right? But how do I keep those faces on camera is more important than me just putting them there just to have them there, right? So we are, as humans, just complex creatures across the board. Right. So, but we are not just one way. We're not just people that go out, smoke weed, drink liquor, screw, and shoot each other. Right? We love, we hate, we do all kind of other things. We have different types of emotions, and for me, I don't see enough of that of us reflected on camera. So in my projects, I try my best, even if it's a story about whatever's going on in the streets. There's still another story that happens inside of the person internally that we don't get a chance to see. Right? So to me, every story I create is a love story. You know what I mean? I take it from that perspective of the person, even the guy who goes out and let's say he's going to shoot someone. There's still somebody he loves at home. Right. And there's, and after he does that, how does he feel after he shoots someone? And I'll show him shooting someone, but I'll also show his remorse for what he's done. Right. And if you watch the project, I never glorify the ending.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Well, it is very important, and especially, it's Black History Month. I think that we need to continue to pour into each other, into our cultures, to be able to continue to push our cultures forward because we're not the minority anymore. So thank you for doing that because I think that's very important. And as far as the storytelling part goes, I think that's also very important to see and to emphasize on because we were just talking about trauma. All of us are going through so much trauma, and the trauma sometimes, allows us or pushes us to make these mistakes, that we don't want to make, and we're not thinking about our loved ones, and what are we thinking after we do this, and are we trying to change? And it's good to reflect that and to show that in a film. Absolutely, because there is a lot of stigma, unfortunately, about our cultures and the streets and things like that. So thank you for doing that. Absolutely.
But the sad part about that stigma is we've created it.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's not like something somebody else created. They say, oh, the white man did this or somebody else did that. No, all they did was exploit the stigma that we've created. And we can stop it just by stopping it. But instead, we keep going on and on and on and on. So a lot of people look at the film that I have, To Live and Die in Bedstuy, On Among Thieves, it's on Tubi. And when you look on Tubi, you constantly see Tubi reflects visually what the airwaves are playing phonically, right? So we're hearing murder, death, kill, and then we look on TV and we see murder, death, kill. So then everybody who sees us think we're all about murder, death, kill.
Right.
And if it's not about murder, death, kill, it's about over-sexualization of the female, right? So we just look like a bunch of hypersexual murderers, right? And addicts. But that's our fault because as filmmakers, we love showing the black woman naked. Right. For what reason? I don't know. Every film, and I have producers that get upset with me when I'm directing because they'll say, okay, this scene, I'm like, well, we don't need that. Right. We don't need to show her naked right here. Right. We get it. They had sex. Do we need to show? No, that's what people want. Who's the people? Right. You know what I mean? Right. It turns into, it almost like, it's like a perv fest. You know what I mean? Like, there are certain situations where there should be some nudity. But then I also have to think about, if you really respect your people, right? I have to think about, she's a mother, she's a daughter, she's somebody's sister. And for this movie, is that what she needs to see? Do everybody around the world need to see her naked? Do her kids need to see her 10, 15 years from now in this project naked? No. So I think about that, and I'm like, okay, well, we can cut it here. I'm sorry, I went on a little rant.
Yeah, no,
that's perfect.
That's absolutely correct. And it makes me think about even like, in Hollywood and how like Denzel, got super recognized when he played that role in the movie of being like, the bad cop, the criminal cop and stuff like that. And Halle Berry got her Oscar for being naked on the movie. It makes me think about all of that. Like you're absolutely right. That's what we're doing to ourselves, and that is what white American film industry is supporting, and that's what they're giving accolades to.
No, they don't support it though. That's the problem. So we keep thinking that they're doing something to us.
Okay.
We are constantly doing it to ourselves, and all they're doing is keep giving us enough rope to keep doing it.
To keep hanging on.
So they're giving us money and say, here, go make a movie. This is the movie you want to make. This, that, and the other. Like, even with a lot of the black women, again, every time I see a black woman on TV, she's yelling and screaming. And I'm like, well, who's this woman? I don't know this woman. I got 5 sisters. I don't know this woman. You know what I mean? My mother wasn't this woman. If that woman showed up in my house, it was because I did something really, really stupid.
Right.
But it wasn't like she was just always there. So again,
like that,
you have it as the angry black woman, the angry Hispanic woman. You know what I mean? There's no, and we are writing these stories. We are producing these stories. We are directing these stories. And in some cases, we're financing these stories. So who is white America? What white America is doing this to us?
Right.
Right?
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. I mean, I was talking about it from the perspective of what they're actually acknowledging, because I feel like a lot of black and brown actors have done so much more in the film industry that they haven't been recognized for and awarded for. But it does start from us. You're absolutely right.
Well, they recognize what makes money.
Right.
So they don't care about what we tell. We can tell stories about us playing with kittens all day. If it
Right.
made money, then they'll put money behind it.
Right.
So the fact that we love the fact that we are these things, they put money behind it. They say, make more of it, make more of that. Okay, great, let's make more of that. But if we shift and start watching other things and start creating other things, then they'll put money behind that as well.
Yeah, that is true. That is true. All right. So, kind of staying on that topic a little bit. What do you think the difference is between making like a black urban film and making like a white film, and like what is the support like as far as funding and where you can distribute your project?
Wow. So it's just my opinion. I'm not saying this is right or wrong. I don't think there's any difference. I don't think there's any difference in terms of creating it. I think we want more because we see them with more. Right? So if they have 100, because to really make a film, the most you need is, if you have $1.5 million, you can make a really great film.
Right.
No matter what color you are, no matter where you are. You got enough money. Even if it's $5 million, you can make a great film. Look at Fridays. Great film, only cost $3 million. So you can make great film. But we look at them and say, oh, he got 20 million, so we want 20 million too. I think it's more about, we don't know how to make films. And we refuse to learn how to make films. Like, we can make a film. We don't know how to make a correct film, if I'm making any sense.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Right? So it's like when we were little and we played Monopoly, or you played with the board games. How many of us actually turned over the box and read the rules?
And read the directions.
No one.
Nobody. You just open it up and you start playing, right? And that's how we're making films. We just grab a camera, we grab some lights, and we just start. But there's rules to this, right? So, and when you learn the rules, you understand how to make a really great film.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I learned that in art school, that everything is about a rule. So even brush strokes in painting, the way you stroke a brush a particular way with a certain kind of paint gives you a certain effect on. So if you don't know how to do all these things, now you're just making a mess. You're doing something. It's happening.
Right.
But it's not the way that guy's is. And you're saying, well, why is his different? Because he turned over the box and he read the rules.
Right.
Right? He's not better than you. He's just more informed than you are. And the information is not hidden from you. You just refuse to learn.
Right.
You just want to do it your own way. So I don't think there's any difference. I think that we put too many stigmas on ourselves. We make excuses for and create our own obstacles, and then give it to someone else and say that person put the obstacle in front of me,
Right.
when you put it in front of
Absolutely.
yourself. So I don't think there's any difference.
Yeah.
That answered your question.
Yeah, no, it does. So are there resources out there
Absolutely.
for black filmmakers? Okay.
Absolutely. I mean, one of the greatest resources out there for black filmmakers is distribution, right? The hardest thing for any filmmaker to obtain is distribution. And when you have a site like Tubi, regardless of who owns it, right? You have a site like Tubi that's willing to take your film and pay you handsomely for your film, then half of the battle is already done.
Right.
Now it's up to you to go back, learn how to do this the right way, and then turn it around and then distribute it and get it out there.
Right.
So the resources exist. New York City Film Academy, they teach you free. The city has a free program that teaches you and pairs you with major filmmakers so that you can learn how to do this. Internship is free. When I don't know how old, I don't want to, but when I was coming up, right, you would go to internships and you would go to the record label and you'd go to the record label and show up on time and be scared to death that you could get fired from a free job. They wasn't paying you, but you were there and you were there on time because what you learned at that label was so impactful for you, right? When I went and I would go and work at advertising agencies for free, just to sit around and be like, wow, watch these guys move around and soak up so much information. Who's doing that now? Everybody thinks they deserve something.
Right.
That's
Right?
true. That's true.
So again, I can go on a rant. I don't.
No, that is true. And thank you for sharing that because, if we have a lot of, urban filmmakers that are watching us, definitely the resources are out there. I agree. If we're investing our time to put projects out there, let's make sure we turn over the box and read the directions, right? And do it the right way so that we're well respected for what we do for our crafts and stuff like that. So yeah, absolutely.
And on that, writers, because it starts with the writing. It starts with the pen. It starts with the page. Learn how to write. And I'm not talking about learn how to write, spelling words correctly. Learn how to tell a story and move a story along. Because when the story falls out of sync, people check out.
Yep.
Right?
True.
And what they do is they create these stories, and the story has absolutely no beginning, no ending, and they fill it up with gratuitous sex and gratuitous violence. And people say, okay, well, I enjoyed it because, I saw a bunch of naked women and I saw people get their heads shot off.
Right.
And they say, oh, that was a great movie. No, it wasn't. It wasn't a great movie. And then people say, like, there's a movie that's out now, the American, what is it? American, with, oh my God, where he's writing books and he writes this really horrible book. It's really, and it becomes a bestseller because he adds all of the stereotypes, the black stereotypes into it. And it's up for like 5 Academy Awards right now. Jeffrey Wright stars in it, the actor Jeffrey Wright. And that's how I feel half the time. Like, do I have to make the most crummiest movie ever in order for people to realize, hey, this guy's pretty decent. He can make a good movie.
Right. Yeah, that's tough. That's tough to think like that. But, hopefully we can continue to move forward positively and kind of, break those chains and focus on making good stories and, changing the narrative.
Well, it starts with guys like yourself, what you're doing, which is a great thing. But also we're afraid to tell people when they're bad.
Right.
Right? Sometimes you got to tell people, I saw your movie. It wasn't really that good.
Right.
What are you going to do to make it better next time?
Constructive criticism, it's always good.
Yeah, and then people say, oh, why did you come at me? You hating on me. No, not hating on you. You really did make a bad movie.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I also welcome people to tell me. I do many screenings before I release a movie, and I say, hey, don't tell me what you liked about it. Tell me what you don't like. Let's start from what you don't like, because I can fix it. I can't fix it once it's out. So if I put it out, and then you say you don't like it, or it's a very bad project, I can't fix that. But if you tell me in the screening, hey, I don't like this, I don't like that, then I can go back and fix those things.
Okay. So staying on that topic a little bit, would you be open to making film that is inclusive of all types of different, demographics, cultures?
Of course. I'm smiling because I'm literally in the middle of making a project right now called Bottom Bitch. Right? And it's set in 1968, and it's about a young girl who's a prostitute. She's forced into prostitution by her father, and she has to now navigate the streets of Bedford-Stuyvesant, Brooklyn in 1968. But in 1968, you had the 5 families were still around. 5 crown families were still around. Martin Luther King was assassinated. Robert Kennedy Jr. was assassinated, but Robert Kennedy Jr. also came to Bedford-Stuyvesant, Brooklyn in 1966 and gave Bed-Stuy restoration. So all of that is incorporated into this story. So when you mention about different cultures, and Frank Matthews, and anyone who knows about Frank Matthews know that he started the Black and Puerto Rican caucus, I believe it was, but it was for drug dealers, right? So there's Hispanic representation, there's Italian representation, there's Irish representation. There's so many different representations in this particular project. It's not just one monolithic story about just being Black. It's about everything that was happening around that time and just happening in Bed-Stuy, Brooklyn. So the answer to that question is yes.
Okay, good.
Good.
All right. Well, I'm looking forward to definitely,
too.
Checking out.
And I've also worked on a project called On Among Thieves, which in the project, one of the characters, Mickey, who's also an Italian, he's English, and he's English, Irish, and he's the main part of the story as well. So I try my best to bring other cultures into the story, seeing as how I'm not considered necessarily a Black American. I'm also a foreigner, so I try to bring as many different cultures in. Which, real quick, funny story, when I was growing up, everyone would call me a coconut. Me and my brothers were coconuts, right? Because that's what they call Caribbean people. And as I got older, I started to realize all you cats on my block were coconuts. You know what I mean? Like, no one was everybody said, I came from down south. No, you did. You came from Barbados. You were from this place. You were from that place. You know what I mean? And in telling my story, I can't just stay on one line.
Right.
I gotta touch on different cultures and everything else, because that's what makes us, make the world go round.
Yeah,
Right.
Absolutely. So let's before we wrap up, let's talk a little bit about the audition process and what goes into that, because I do know a lot of creatives, a lot of potential actors and stuff like that, and sometimes they feel like it's a little difficult to get into the acting industry.
It's difficult to get into the acting industry if you can't act.
Duh.
And
Plain and simple.
and that's the reality of it, right? So you sit there and people ask most of these people who want to be in the acting industry, how many acting classes have they taken?
Right.
Ask them, how many plays have they done? What are they doing to get in? You think I'm going to make you a star?
Right.
You're not going to come and mess up my movie with your bad acting. So no, I'm not going to hire you. I'm not going to bring you in. What are you willing to do to become the actor that you think you are? I'm not going to tell you you're going to be a horrible actor forever, but at this point in time, you're a bad actor. And having a really dope BBL is not going to make you a good actor. You know what I mean? That's just not what it is. But again, when you're exploiting women,
It's gonna get more views.
right? So when that's what you want, when you're looking at and you're saying, okay, she has a great body, but she's a horrible actor. Yeah, but she got a great body. We're gonna get many views.
Right.
Yeah, but when you're serious about your craft, that doesn't matter.
Right.
You know what I mean? When you look at
And who are you trying to reach, right? You're gonna get views, but who are you reaching?
Right.
so let's look at the what's the show? Raising Cain. Raising Canaan. The mother is not the most shapely woman. But she's a great actress.
Yeah, she
and
is.
you don't even pay attention to what she looks like in her shape, because her acting is so is so captivating that
true.
it just holds you in. So a real director is not looking at your body type and say, oh, this one is this. They're looking at, can you act?
Right.
So the number one thing I would say to any actor who's trying to get into the game, learn to act. Take a couple acting classes. Read the back of the box.
Right.
Look at what the director's looking for before you come in there. Nobody owes you anything. This is this is one of those businesses that I don't have to have. I don't have to have you here.
Right.
I want to have you here.
Right.
I don't have to make a movie tomorrow. I want to make a movie, and I want you to want to help me make a movie.
Right. By helping yourself.
Right?
Yeah.
So that would be my
Absolutely.
advice.
Yeah, no, and I'm glad you say that, because that's a good point. Like, universally, I feel like us, because unfortunately we're in this era where there's social media and stuff like that. You mentioned the BBLs, and I feel like a lot of people, just drown themselves in these narratives and how they think they should look and how they would be accepted and things like that. So I think universally, like even outside of the film industry, I think that's a very good point that you make. And I think that everybody should hone in on their talents and what they're good at and what their purpose is, instead of trying to like live up to everything else and you know trying to be like this person and that person. Just love who you are and hone in on your talents, and that it's gonna shine more than anybody who has any type of body or any type of thing going on. So
and not only that, trends are momentarily and your purpose is forever. So everything's temporarily.
Yeah, I mean, people ask me, say, Joe, why haven't you got this yet? Because I'm not good enough yet. When I get good enough, it'll happen.
Right.
Say, but no, I'm good. I'm not good enough yet.
Right.
And the minute I start thinking that I'm good enough, I've already lost. Right. So I have nothing more to learn because I think I'm good enough.
Exactly.
So I'm never going to be good enough. Yes. I'm constantly trying to be better, and I'm constantly reading. I'm constantly connecting with other people and learning other techniques. And each film is going to look different because I'm partnering with different people to create that one ultimate great look. Right. And that's how you get better. That's how you grow. That's how you move in the industry.
Right. Yeah. Constantly working on yourself. Absolutely.
Always remaining a student.
Yeah. Yes. I was looking at To Live and Die in Bedstuy the other day, like 2 days ago, and I'm watching one particular scene, and I'm cringing as I'm watching this scene because I know now what I know now. If I'd have shot that scene then, all the things I would have done different.
Right.
And I'm my hardest critic, and people are like, man, why are you so hard on yourself? I can't be hard on you and be easy on me. Right. You know what I mean? I got to be hard on me too. When I make a mistake, I got to admit that was wrong. That wasn't good. Right. You know what I mean? So I don't,
Yeah. But that's good. You're in the right headspace. It's all about growing. That's something that we're about here. We're always, constantly trying to help each other grow, help each other get better, giving each other, positive criticism and stuff like that. If you cannot accept that there's growth in everything that you do, you will not be able to move forward. Right. So before we let you go, tell us, I know you told us a little bit about your upcoming projects, but tell us, where people can find you, your upcoming projects, stuff like that.
Okay. The easiest way I do so many other things, so the easiest way to find me would be to just Google me, Joseph C. Grant Jr. But if you, my Instagram is JoezeYez, Joe's Eyes. Everybody says it's different. Joe's Eyes, Joe's Eyes. It's JoezeYez. That's where you would find me, yeah. And up and coming projects, there's so many. I just mentioned Bottom Bitch. Also have a project called Brooklyn Bloody Mess, which is about a teenage vampire that lives in Brooklyn. I have another project called Brooklyn Gem, which is about a young lady who wants to be a comedian, and all of the things that she has to go through, like the casting couch and all the other stuff that happens in the world of comedy. I'm doing that with a friend of mine, Kenny Williams, who's a big comedian. So it's kind of like a remake of Mahogany, but instead of being a fashion designer, she wants to be a comedian. So we're going to explore the entire world of comedy through the lens of a young woman who's trying to get in, and when I start hearing the stories about what women have to do to get through in comedy, you think, I would probably say it's the worst. And again, it's us doing it to us. Right. It's nobody else because we were the gatekeepers. We were holding the keys. I think, and I also have a project called Joker's Wild that is coming out. It's like Def Comedy Jam. Okay. So, that's coming out soon. A couple other things. I don't remember all. Yeah. But those are the ones that stick in the top of my head right now.
Nice. Okay, well, congratulations.
Yes, congrats.
On everything that you've done so far, everything you're continuing to accomplish. Definitely, y'all, check out what's streaming now on Tubi. Live and Die in Bedstuy.
To Live and Die
in Bedstuy. So
Honor of Thieves.
Honor of Thieves.
And The Stuff, which I did with Rob Stapleton. Okay. And stars Michael Blackston and a bunch of other, Gary Sturgis, a bunch of other great comedians and great actors.
Nice. That one I haven't watched yet. I'm definitely gonna watch it. Yeah. So definitely tap in, y'all. Make sure that you support, you watch it, and yeah, let's continue to support each other in our communities. And I hope you guys enjoyed this episode, okay, of our new season, Sit Fearlessly. And I love that you mentioned the storytelling part because that's kind of like what we're doing here with our podcast. Telling our story and bringing in others to sit down and tell theirs as well.
Right.
So thank you for being authentic, being honest, and sharing everything that you share with us today.
Right. I learned a lot today.
Yes.
So
Well, thank you for having me.
All right, y'all. So thank you for tuning in. Shout out to Bel Air for the sponsorship, and I hope you guys enjoy it. All right.
Later.
Bada bing, bada boom. Last call for phones.
Yeah, I got it with me from the beginning, the last 20 years. Yeah.
Okay, we're recording. All right, we're still live. Mic's on go still. Everybody's good. Sue, we're starting on you on this camera. And yeah, we stole her baby.
Sit up straight.
Ay.
Right, Edge.
That's the energy, right?
No, we need you.
It's y'all Kool-Aid smile, so y'all good. And Sue, starting on you. 3, 2.
Hey everyone, welcome back. It's Sip Fearlessly. we working, honey. Yes, we're so excited to be back with our newly branded podcast, TV show, all of that good stuff, because we everywhere, okay?
Right.
Make sure that you catch us on all major platforms. Formerly The Fearless Show. Thank you for everybody who's been rocking with us from the beginning. We really appreciate it. But we definitely wanted to do a rebrand because we wanted to share our story as sisters and our journey and just, inspire and motivate others. And one of our favorite things is to sit down and have conversations and sip on something. Okay, so Sip Fearlessly naturally came to us,
right.
And we're enjoying it and having a good time. And also shout out to Bel Air for the sponsorship. And yeah, we here, another dope episode, another dope guest. Okay,
Yes.
So if you guys don't know, but like I always say, as you should already, I'm your girl Sue Fearless.
And I'm Gigi.
All right, and we are here with the infamous Amadeus.
Yeah, what's up? And you said my name right, so that's good. Yeah. I said that in the last interview. That's always a problem. They always kind of twist the name, or it's like, I know it's too long. It's like I should have pre-calculated the name.
Oh, that's what makes you unique.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. No, I love it. The infamous. Like you have to add the infamous in front of it.
Of course.
Yes, it reminds me of my journey real quick when I never named myself Sue Fearless, and somebody did, one of my close friends, and when he said it, I was like, ooh, that's big shoes to fill, So since then, I've been working on filling those shoes. So now we love it. The infamous Amadeus, we love it.
Yes.
Thank you.
And this is such a long time coming. I know we were supposed to meet last year.
Last year. Mm-hmm.
So, Happy New Year.
Yeah.
Shout out to you.
Kwanzaa,
all the dope things you've been doing.
Thank you.
Yes. So let's dive in a little bit right away. So let's talk about your love of music and that journey and where it started and where you're from.
Yeah, so born and raised in the Bronx, Marble Hill section. Of the Bronx. Everything that you see me doing now, it comes from the perspective of not only being an MC, but being an MC who didn't want to wait for anybody to do anything for me. So when you see me direct 170 music videos, that's because nobody wanted to shoot my video. When you see me at Shade 45 playing my own records, that's because DJs didn't want to play my records. When you see just a lot of the different things that I do, it came from that perspective. It's just as time went on, it just wasn't my destiny to hold a mic as an artist. It was more to come from this perspective and give the journalistic aspect and then also entertain the listeners through their commutes. Right, because that's important, right? You're driving home. People hate radio. Radio suck, right? But for the most part, I think we can all kind of agree, like when it comes to like what we hear in our cars. But I've been able to build a community every single week. They know at 3:00 it's a movie. They're having a good time. I'm getting them ready for the weekend. I got them in the left lane. And and that's just speeding. HOV lane is permitted if you're riding one deep while I'm mixing. But yeah, that's just what it is. It just comes from the perspective of understanding the struggles that the artists go through.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love that. I feel like everything happens the way it's supposed to, and I feel like everything that you do in life leads to ultimately, what it is that you're meant to do. So I think you're still tapping into your talents, you're still tapping into your creativity, everything that you're passionate about. And by the way, I love your voice.
Thank you,
Thank you. It reminds me of Jadakiss.
Yeah, I know everybody says that. I had I was on a lot of people don't know I spent a lot of time around D Block.
Okay.
I spent a lot of time, like I was involved in like some of the tours. I shot a video for Jadakiss called Closed Casket. I shot another one for Styles P. And it was getting to the point this is when I knew it was serious. Like we would be in the same room and people would be looking to see who's talking. Yeah, like they look like, and I'm like, it's a little frustrating. I'm like, yo, y'all keep saying I sound like somebody. I sound like me. Y'all bugging, y'all bugging. And then one day he told me, he's like, I feel like I'm talking to myself. I'm like, all right, I feel you. He a legend, so you just gotta accept it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, but listen, this is uniquely you. But
Yeah,
I love
it
your
is.
voice.
Thank you. Thank you.
I'm pretty sure like. That's why one of the reasons why people tap in too, because people fall in love with like personalities, voices, and stuff like that. You have a perfect like radio voice.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so let's talk a little bit about like your rap journey and maybe like some advice you can give like some upcoming rappers.
Yeah.
What's something that you felt like you didn't know when you was coming in the industry that now you can talk about.
I didn't know that the music business was 90% business, 10% music. I wish if I would have known that from the jump, probably would even be further than where I am now, right? I'm going to be 41 on March 9th, and I'm proud of it, so I'll say it all the time. People want to cuff their age. Nah, I'm 41, my brother. I'm good. I mean, but Biggie died on my 14th birthday. So, it's like a hood holiday, obviously, right? And I just happened to be born that day. But I wish if I would have known that early on, I may even be further. Not that I'm not far now, but I may even be further. And just when it comes to the young artists, I feel like they don't put enough personality in their music. I don't know anything about you except the fact that you like to turn up, smoke za, and you have 100 women around you. I don't know that your rent's not due. I don't know, grandma got cancer. Like, there's nothing to relate. And in my opinion, just as a curator of music, that is the main difference. It's not so much about sonics, right? Das Effects wasn't the greatest lyricist, right? They were like bum skibbity bum. I mean, what's the difference between that and like a Migos, right? There's not really that much of a difference. It's just the music, right? But there was at least some sort of relatability towards the record. So I think artists need to kind of give more of their personality on their music.
Yeah, like tell a story, right? Like we were talking about.
Tell your story. That's the point. Like you're painting a canvas. Like tell your story, whatever that is, because someone's gonna relate to you.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So someone I had one of my projects went gold as an artist, ironically. And I think the reason why it went gold is because I showed an enormous amount of vulnerability on the album. Like I spoke about, problems with my daughter, infidelity, my growing up where I lived. I spoke about political stuff. I also gave you a vibe, right? And I think the audience connected to it in a nice way. And I just wish more artists would do it.
Right.
I just feel like they're kind of scared, for whatever reason. Social media has made everyone antisocial.
That's what it is.
And they following trend.
They live on their phone, and there's no more like, hey, how you doing? And let's go outside. You just feel like you know everybody through a phone screen, So that's...
Right. Yeah, I feel like there's no vulnerability anymore when it comes to music. I feel like you said, the trends, the TikToks, the this, that, the violence on the songs. What's the I don't know why it's slipping my head. The type of music that's out, the drill music. Like I feel like everybody's kind of just riding a wave, and not taking the time to figure out who they are as an artist, and identify themselves that way and separate themselves, because I feel like that's also what attributes to success in the music business when you learn how to do that.
Of course,
like separate yourself and become a unique individual artist.
Yeah, of course, and a lot of the music just displays one emotion.
Right.
So the only emotion that you're giving me is partying and vibing. I don't know nothing else. I don't feel anything else. I don't know when you're sad. I don't know when you're angry. I don't even really know if you are angry because you're changing your voice. You try to sound like me, but you sound like her. Like, it's like, it's a lot happening, It's a lot happening.
Yeah, you have to have versatility too, right? That's what it makes me think about. Because if you're only turning up all the time, then that's the only time I'm gonna listen to you.
Yeah,
right.
That's it.
I'm turning on.
Yeah, that's a fact. And I like that you mentioned the business part too, because that's also like a huge detriment to artists, is because they don't know the business part of it. Like on Media Mayhem Day that we had here with DSN, we talked to a young artist from Canada, and that's one thing that he told us. You know, he was in a horrible deal, and he's like, you know, they were trying to take out life insurance on him, and you know, things like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, that a lot of the times that is a lot of the detriment.
Yeah, I mean, reading is definitely fundamental.
Yes.
Right.
Right.
Yes.
And I guess the sadness about that is that they have access to the information without leaving their bed. You literally go and turn on your device, and whatever it is that you want to accomplish, whatever you want to know, you can find. But you have to actually be interested in it, right? And being interested in music doesn't just mean recording.
Right.
You gotta do other things, right? You gotta do other things. Like I'm on the radio, right? I have to be interested in, okay, who's listening to me, right? What is the age range of people that are listening? So the people that own cars in America, they're basically between 43 and 55 years old, right? This is a known fact. And the happy medium, somewhere in the middle, like you'll get like the average of 35-year-olds that are in the car. So why would I play records that they can't relate to?
Right.
This is why you change the station, because you don't understand it, you don't relate to it, right? And that's also a part of just kind of learning like where you need to be and the space that you need to operate in. And I think everybody will be more successful, but also get a better end of the deal if you come into it understanding these things.
Right.
Exactly. Absolutely. So let's talk about a little bit of your journey going into a Sirius XM.
I was on a show on National Geographic called Underworld Inc. Just a quick backstory. So basically, I was hot as a video director. I think I had shot the was it the Papoose video? It was Papoose, Jada Kiss, Jim Jones, Ice-T. It's called 6 a.m. Right? I had just kind of directed this video, and I used to show up to the sets like to make extra money with nutcrackers. Because the liquor stores are closed. We in areas like this, nobody want to go to the store. So I'm popping out 400 nutcrackers, and it just started going crazy. And I learned something called search engine optimization, right? Which is basically SEO. And I figured out how to make nutcrackers be at the top of the Google page.
Okay.
Right? When you search the word nutcracker, even over the play and over the the little toys that they have for Christmas. So National Geographic, they were doing this show called Underworld Inc. They also do was it Locked Up Abroad and Drugs Inc.
Yeah.
And they had filmed the whole entire episode in like Arkansas with like guys mining moonshine, and they wanted to urbanize it. And it just so happened when they searched, the first thing they found was the Facebook page.
Look at that.
For my nutcracker drink. So they straight up inboxed me on Facebook, Wall to Wall Productions. Listen, we doing this. This is the idea. We want to come meet you. They met me. I was filming in 2 days. Obviously, you know, National Geographic is one of the biggest television platforms.
Yes.
Like, it reaches worldwide, right? And the guy that brought me to SiriusXM saw me on National Geographic, and he had a show on Fridays called The Drunk Mix, where basically people will call in, like, what are you drinking, whatever. And he posted my picture on Instagram. This is the facts. He posted my picture on Instagram, and then we got in contact, and I went up there as a guest first. And then when he ended up getting the primetime slot after Sway in the Morning, they brought me on the film. Okay. And then from there, I worked my way in. Nice. Basically by showing up every day, talking to everybody in the building, figuring out how radio works. He had like a little health issue at one time, and I was bringing guest DJs. Like I was bringing everybody, Drewski, Self, Red Alert. And I seen it, like, you know what? I need to learn how to DJ because that is my way to get my own real estate on the radio. So I bought a laptop, and one day I was in a spot. DJ Self left at 3:30. I saw the guard with an iPod at this time. Yo, get out of here. I plugged in with the house DJ. How do you work the Serato? And I figured it out, and here we are.
Nice.
And it just built from there. And I guess I say all that to say that it happened by not making excuses or not putting limitations on myself. A lot of times we don't understand on the other side of fear, there's such a reward on the other side, but you let fear block your blessings. And you be limiting yourself, and you don't even know. You know what I mean? So just by me moving that way, here we are.
Right.
That's the magic of pivoting, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
So a lot of us had to do that during the pandemic too, and I think we hold ourselves back a lot because we kind of fall in love with a dream and we don't know how to let it go.
Yeah.
We don't know how to grow.
Yeah.
So I think that's really dope that you were able to identify that and learn, right? Like we were just talking about.
Yeah, learn,
Turn over the cardboard and look at the instructions on how to get better at those things.
Facts,
And how to see what was missing. But I love that SEO.
Yeah,
We
search
can talk
engine
about that.
search engine optimization. You know?
Because a lot of people don't know about that either, right?
Yeah.
How to market yourself in a way where you're reachable and people can find you, not just on social media. Because things didn't start with just social media, y'all.
Yeah.
Right.
There's so many other
There's
outlets.
so many
Yeah.
outlets.
Yeah,
There's so many
absolutely.
outlets.
So run us through a little bit about like how do you engage your audience? I know you use music and all of that, but how do you engage your audience, right? Because us as podcasters, that's something that's very important for us.
So one of the things that I did that really worked during the pandemic is I stopped talking this way and I started talking that way. That was the one thing that started making all my content go viral. Like I'm no longer sitting with someone and like having an interview, like I'm talking directly to the viewer. And I've started doing like short form content. Again, I realized that my fan base is this like 35 to 55 real hip hop. So I just started talking about the topics that I knew that they would be interested in. Right. And it just started clicking. Like it started clicking, keeping the video short, keeping the videos to the point, putting the captions on the screen. And always using whatever I'm writing at the bottom as a question, right? So if you look at my Instagram, I'll be like, who's the next artist to do the Punchline Academy? And I'll put eyeballs and a question mark. And now it automatically creates a conversation because not only am I talking to them, but I'm asking them a question that's going to engage with my content.
Right.
So that's something that anybody could do. I just noticed that really worked for me.
So definitely identifying demographic is super important because then you can just take it from there and
You have to know who your audience is.
Right.
This whole entire game is niche audiences. Right? I always like to use the example like if you follow a cooking page, right? You literally follow this person for cooking. And all of a sudden one day he started showing you how to fix tires. You're going to be like, I could follow somebody else for that, right? So again, you need to identify your audience and literally just stay there. As long as you stay there, it'll take some time, but if you put the work in, I think you'll get the results that you need.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's so interesting that you said like talk to the camera, right? So that's something that I try to do often when we're doing the podcast. But sometimes people have like different ideas of that. Some people say it's better to look to the side and talk to the side.
Well, in this type of situation, you want to talk to your guests, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, because at this time I had my podcast. So this was before I had the show a series. So I, talk to your guests. I just decided to make like additional content where it was geared towards the audience. So I guess like whatever's the topic of your show, if it's like sipping, feeling good, maybe you could do something like directly.
Right.
And it's just something you do on the side. Get a little ring light, put your phone on the tripod and just, hey, how you doing? And just talk to you.
Do you use live a lot? Do you go on a lot of live?
Not anymore because I'm also preparing for like this whole thing that's about to happen to me right now, right? I'm being basically thrown into the seat now. You know what I mean? I've been on the radio for 7 years, but I've never been the person like doing the interviews. I've been in control of the room, but now it's my room, right? So I'm kind of preparing for that. So no, I haven't been doing lives. But when I was doing the lives all the time, that's how I built the whole fan base with the artists. Because I was getting an opportunity to come on my platform, rap. I was having guys battle and stuff. So it is good to go live and engage with them.
Yeah. So speaking about battle, that was actually going to be my follow-up question. So I know that you in the past have put ciphers together and stuff like that. So how do you pick the artists that you want to include in the ciphers?
Previously, it's just basically been about bars. It's been about lyrics. And I also like to, and I will continue to reward young people for at least trying to rap.
Okay.
Like if I see a young person 14, 15 years old, obviously, our style of music ain't their style of music, right? But if they bust a rhyme on a Nas joint, even if it's okay, I'm like, yo, come on, let's go.
Right.
Because you need to see again, you want to be rewarded for your work, right? And sometimes you're following what you think is a trend, and maybe it's not working out for you. Maybe you're just competing in a sea that's just too flooded. You're in the pond and there's just too many fish in the pond. But if you pivot a little bit and it works for you, that might spark a change that will change the entire culture.
Right.
Right? So that's it. I mean, now moving forward, now with the Punchline Academy, always gonna show love to the independent artists. We're gonna have like obviously a little criteria now. Like, you can't have 2 followers on Instagram, obviously, but you gotta be a dope. You gotta be a dope lyricist. I would prefer if you had something out. If you have just something to promote.
Right.
And you just gotta be ready to rap. I don't let people pick beats in advance. Nothing. You show up, you're a rapper. You got 2 verses, dump. So, and we've been able to make magic.
Yeah, because it seems like for you, like bars is what matters. Bars is one of the most important things.
Well, because of my fan base, like me identifying my fan base. So I learned to actually DJ in the strip club environment, right? It was the easiest place for me not to get judged sonically. Like, imagine me trying to go to a Rakim concert, trying to learn how to DJ. Right? Sonically, it was just easier. The person that is listening to me is not worried about me because they're looking at the girls.
Right.
So this is genius.
Right.
Right? So this is why I learned how to DJ, right? But the mistake that I made is that when I first started DJing on the radio, because that was the vibe that I'm in, I took it to the radio and the listeners weren't interacting with me because I was basically DJing for myself. This is the main problem with like all these conversations that we have. A lot of times you tend to do things for yourself instead of doing things for the people that are watching you.
Right.
Your audience.
That's so true.
So once I started to identify, okay, this is not my audience. Let me figure out who my audience is. All right, these are the people that listen to me. Then I just started to switch the program. It was a slow burn. Switch the program, and then once I tapped in, it took off.
Right. Yeah. Nice. Okay. So, tell us a little bit about what's next. I know you talked about what is it called? The site where you're holding the ciphers?
Yeah, so the Punchline Academy is a new show on Shade 45. We start March 6th. Okay. And I'll be on Wednesdays 7 to 9. This is a special spot. This was K Slay's spot on Shade 45. And, they just didn't give it to anybody. Like, they've been literally holding it for the right time, and the stars aligned in the way where they picked me, right? For all the reasons that we spoke about, like showing up, keeping it authentic, really caring about who's listening to me, really caring about who's watching me on social media. So the Punchline Academy, we start March 6th. My final Thursday will be this Thursday. So, shout out to my left laners on Thursdays. I'm gonna go crazy with y'all this Thursday, but hopefully they'll tap in starting March 6th on Wednesdays for the Punchline Academy.
What time are you on Thursdays?
So I'm on at 3 and at noon.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay, so
and this is like high commute, and it's left lane. I just play like, the dope stuff.
Nice. I love that. So, in our podcast, we like to have moments where we, get a little deep, get a little intimate.
Let's do it, yeah.
And we like to talk about, relationships and stuff like that because we feel like it's important to emphasize on the people we keep around us.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
That helps us with our growth and elevation. Yeah. So I've heard nothing but great things from you and your lady.
Miss Adams, she's here,
in the building, yeah. I heard nothing but great things about y'all. So we want to ask you guys a little bit of questions on like relationship and how has it been, dating and being in the industry.
Yeah. So I've been with Miss Adams for 19 years.
Oh, God bless.
Next year will be 20. So the same person that I was broke with, struggling with, the whole story is the same person that I'm with now. It's the same person that I purchased my first house with, the same person I moved my kids out of New York. And now that I'm going into this whole other journey, this is the person that I am giving the responsibility as she deserves to be my point person.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
right? A lot of times, you know, I learned early on that I would judge a guy by the way he act with his girl, because you act a certain way with us, but then on the side you yelling at your girl, spaz, and you probably, you know, doing all types of crazy stuff. And if you're doing that with the most vulnerable person that you're with every day, that's not someone that I want to be around. So I always make sure that I set the example for other people that are watching, right? We're public figures. People are always watching.
Right.
So dating, no dating for me, but I will tell you that time that I was like in the strip club, I probably could have lost my marriage at that time, because I was so tunnel vision on the goal, right? This is the goal. It's like, all right, I need to learn how to DJ. This is the only place that I can interact with celebrities, and the only place that I can interact with other DJs and radio people. There's no clubs, right? With that, you already know what comes with it. Drinking every night, getting fried, you know, the looking at women, let's say, all the temptations, right? And then you gonna slip, right? So I say that the pandemic was great for me, because the pandemic made me reset.
Right.
Great timing. great timing for the pandemic. And I'm not ashamed to talk about any of these things. Just like I'm not ashamed to tell you my age or other things that I've been through, because it's a part of my story. Right?
Yeah.
And I think that's what makes us human, and I think that's what makes us actually like people. Like, damn, you really go through this stuff? Like, yeah, I go through it just like y'all.
Exactly.
So like during those times when it was challenging, right? You were in a strip club, you were out every night. Like, what from your part did you make sure that you did to help your partner feel secure?
Bring her around. Bring her around, especially like in the social media era, era where, I'm not saying her, just women in general or people in general compare themselves to other people, because you're just watching it down your timeline all the time. So I tried to bring her around, you know, as much as possible, keep it reassuring, making sure that I got back home, right? When it was time, but also try to keep the foundation, you know what I'm saying? And we was going through a lot of stuff too. A sister passed away. And we took on 2 other kids. So I basically had 5 kids at one time in an apartment in the Bronx, right? And we had decided, because I had just a quick backstory. So I had got custody of my daughter. We had 2 in the crib, my daughter, and then the other 2 came in. And we had decided to stay in New York for a year more in a small 2-bedroom apartment, because we didn't want to disrupt them from trying to get out of junior high school. Remember, they're going through traumatic experiences, right?
Yes, I can relate.
2 kids just lost their mom. My daughter was going through like a whole problematic situation with her mom, right? So we sacrificed that, and we came out great on the other side. We moved out of state, you know, big house, the English bulldog. Right. We got a cat now named Hazel, you know, and it actually worked out. I think you just gotta keep your eyes on the prize and do not get distracted along the way. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think you showed up for her and gave her, you know, a place to feel safe.
Yeah.
Because you were communicative and you brought her around. And I'm pretty sure y'all still went through challenges, because everybody does.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
But doing that helps.
Yeah.
You know, because I know sometimes a lot of us, you know, get into relationships, you know, especially, you know, dating somebody in the industry where like they're always busy all the time. So we start complaining about that.
Yeah.
But as long as the person makes some time, whether it's, you know, let me just pop in real quick, make sure you're good, give you a hug and a kiss. All right, I got to go work now.
Yeah.
You know, I think that's super important.
Yeah. And what's also important is that now I've been able to fully involve her now in like everything that's happening.
Good.
Like, you're my point
Partner.
You're my point person on Instagram, you know. And I think one of the things about transitioning into like this like 90s hip hop music is like now we're dealing with adults. Right? I'm not interacting with children in a strip club. Right? So we're interacting with adults where everyone kind of has like more of an understanding of life, because we've all kind of been through things. We're not figuring out anymore, right? We know in our 40s where we want to be, in our late 30s, right? So, yeah, well, some of y'all got to get y'all shit together. Yeah, over the currency, y'all better get y'all fucking shit together. Because y'all is slacking, all right?
No, but you're right. You can't show what you used to show, back then, because then it's like, where's the growth?
Yeah,
Right.
I mean, you gotta clean up.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? And
absolutely.
also a part of being an older person is at some point you realize that it ain't forever.
Right.
The time is ticking, right? And you realize that you kind of live like you're just young until you hit like 35. And then once you're like 35, you're like, oh wait,
Right.
shit about to get real. It's about to go
Right.
left. It's all downhill, right?
Right.
And
It's uphill. It's uphill. Let's not say downhill.
Right.
Let's
And
say
let's not
uphill.
say, let's say why.
Well, not because everything starts to change. You know what I'm saying? Start to
You're
slow
right.
down. I mean, this is the
You're
reality, right?
right.
So I've always been foresighted. So I've kind of always like, all right, I see this coming. Let me just prepare myself.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, look, I feel like we got to look at it like this, right? We're climbing, let's say we're climbing a mountain, we're climbing a hill, whatever it is, right? So that's our teens, that's our 20s,
Yeah.
that's our 30s. We reach the peak,
Peak.
boom, in our 40s. And it's like, yeah, we're going down, but now we're going down making the best decisions that we
Of
can
course,
make.
yeah.
We're tripping over less rocks,
Yeah.
right? We're
Yeah.
falling down
Yeah.
less, you know
'Cause
what
you
I
have the
mean?
experience. Yeah, you have the experience, yeah.
Absolutely. Well, I love that. I love your union. God bless it.
Thank you.
Okay?
Thank you.
Yeah, that's very important, and it's very rare to see in the industry again.
Yeah.
It's very rare to see. So thank you for showing that example.
Yeah,
being
I
that
think
example.
people are kind of afraid to like show this for whatever reason. 'Cause They
Right.
feel like they're gonna be judged
Right.
or
That's
whatever.
what it is. The
But when you're an adult, you don't give a fuck anymore.
Right.
It's like
exactly.
Fact.
Exactly.
like this is what it is, and that's it.
That is a fact. So before we close out, I do want to ask you a question.
Okay, shoot
So,
for it.
being that music is your passion,
Mm-hmm.
what particular song would you say evokes your strongest memories?
Probably Dear Mama, Pac.
Okay.
Probably
Okay.
that song speaks to me in a different way.
Yeah.
So I would say, yeah, like if I had to sum it up,
Mm-hmm.
Dear Mama, and then there's this other song. It's not really a rap song, but it's just by this group called Joe Public, and it was called Live and Learn. And Live and Learn was like the first record that I ever heard that made me want to like be involved with hip hop in some sort of way. Like these guys, I'm from the Bronx. These guys on the side of the West Side Highway playing guitars, pianos in the rain. Like one guy's singing, another guy's rapping, and they on like a New Jack Swing beat. So anytime I see that, I always get that like smile.
Yeah.
Cause it's like, I remember when I first saw that. Now look, yeah. So I would say those two records.
Yeah. What about you, G? You
I
think
don't know.
of
I was
one?
here thinking. I'm a Kanye West head. There's a lot of music I listen. When I listen to his music, specific songs I cannot think of the top of my head right now. I
Yeah.
reminisce, and I like his
Yeah.
music, his
Yeah.
lyrics, and the time periods and how his music has changed. So there's like in each album, there's the song which right now I cannot think of.
Right.
But yeah, I really can't think of the song right now. But Kanye West brings me,
Yeah.
to my music.
Brings it to your vibe.
and
Yeah. Kanye's dope. Kanye West has a song called I Wonder. It was on the third album, and so I haven't been able to fully announce that I'm getting the show. Like I'm doing like the promo run now, but we're making an official announcement on Monday, right?
Okay.
So I had kind of
You
played.
heard it here first.
Yeah. So I kind of played this record on the radio because it's like I wonder, like you're gonna find your dreams come true. So I had like kind of stopped the whole mix. And I'm like, this is what I'm feeling. Radio's up, go on the show to put the blinkers on,
I love that. Music is just a vibe. Like
Yeah.
I'm a music head, so music always makes me feel good. Like for me, I'm Latina, so like thinking about the music that my parents used to listen to when I was younger, that always brings me nostalgia. Biggie. I can remember when I was young, I was into Biggie, Pac, Mary J. And I remember I used to have like a purple, green, pink, and orange boombox that I used to carry with me on the trips all the time. And I used to be like a loner, but I used to bond with people.
It's a
and stuff.
cassettes?
But the
Cassettes,
music, yeah, like the music and the boombox attracted me to my tribe.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So I remember that, and shit, I was thinking about I just had it at the tip of my tongue. Andre 3000 and Big Boy, The Love Below.
Oh,
That
fire.
album
That's
is
a fire.
vibes.
That's fire,
That
yeah.
album is vibes.
Yeah.
So yeah, all of that brings me memories.
There's like some good records we named me. I'm gonna have to put this in the playlist.
Hey. Well, it was so dope to have
Thank you.
you.
Finally. Thank you.
Right?
Thank you guys. Yeah, thank you.
Yes, thank you so much. We really appreciate your
Thank you guys for
vulnerability,
having
this
me. Yeah.
conversation.
Thank you.
Like, thank you for dropping your exclusive with us.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
And we're definitely gonna tap in on Thursday, so we'll be
Tap in on
honoring
Thursday.
you.
Once again,
Yeah.
Wednesday, March 6th, the Punchline Academy comes to Shade 45, Sirius XM. You can listen, hosted with myself, the infamous Amadeus. You're gonna get everything that you expect from me. You're gonna get the Left Lane mix, which is it's like my 90s hip hop mix.
Oh, that's
or
definitely
whatever,
us.
like
Right.
whatever mood I'm in. If it's like a holiday, y'all gonna get some Mary, you're gonna get some Jade, something like that. I'll be breaking new records, but more importantly, I'll be bringing the important conversations to the listeners and to the world, and we gonna make niggas rap. Period.
Right.
So we making everybody rap.
Yeah.
That's the number one
love it.
thing.
I love it.
Yeah.
Well, we'll come support if you
Yes.
want us to.
Yeah, pull up. Yeah.
All right,
Pull
Queen,
up.
we'll come support.
Yes.
Yeah.
Keep you company.
Yes.
Yeah. March 6th, we're doing the official. I haven't announced that yet either. I guess it's the first place. March 6th, we're doing the Punchline Academy Shade 45 official launch show party happening in Brooklyn at Star Bar on Star Street. So you're going to get the 90s vibe, you're going to get drinks, and we're going to do a combination of ciphers and performances.
Dope. And we'll be doing the interviews. No,
Yeah,
Right.
pop out. Yeah, pop out. Yeah, let's do it.
No, but listen, I also want to say really quick, let's not shy away from our youth though, because this young lady right here, our intern, loves 90s music.
Yes.
Yeah.
My kids love
Yeah.
90s music. My daughter wants my playlist.
Yeah.
So, we still have an audience out there.
Nice.
So,
Nice, yeah.
absolutely. So we'll
You
we'll
give
put
us
it out there
hope,
for
'cause
sure.
it's dark.
Right.
Listen.
Right. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you,
again.
guys. Thank you.
And that was another episode of Sip Fearlessly, y'all.
Yes.
Thank you so much. Make sure you grab a drink, sit down, and catch up on our 3 new episodes, and we'll be back.
Yep. Peace.